So this is going to be a fairly interesting video and how it ended with a 3.3 average during my undergrad. Well, I want to cut to the chase from the beginning and tell my time when I was in Fletcher, because that's how I kind of started college, was community college. And those who have a basic core curriculum in Louisiana, yes, you can go to college, and I started through community college, to be honest with you. But I wanted to tell you about my experience a little bit, how I got to this point, and you might want to sit down for this one. Because it's the summer before I went, and I think it was the summer of 2012, I believe. I went to Fletcher, the old Fletcher campus on St. Charles in Houma, St. Charles Street, right across from Houma Junior High in Terrebonne. And I had to take the the entrance exam, which I forgot what it was called, but had to take an entrance exam to see where I was weak at. And minding you, I didn't know about financial aid. I didn't know about everything until, I don't know. But I'm going to tell you. And also I had to take a bunch of remedial classes from my, I have my transcript in front of my face and I can tell you. I had to take, figuring this out, 2 Englishes, a math, and a reading. So it's like 1, 2, 3, about 4 classes I had to take remedials before I got into my regular classes. And it all had to, so I had to take 3 and 4 credits at a time, like 1 class at a time, because the first year my mom and dad had to pay for parts of my education. Not fun. Not my long shot. It wasn't until about after the last math class, which is about the summer of 2014, I think. No, 13. Trying to figure out the year. So what it was, after that, we contacted my school financial aid office, and I was able to get covered for financial aid. I was able to get Louisiana Rehabilitation Services. Yeah, so those who are disabled, and if you can keep the grades up, they pay for your education too. They pay for your books, your everything. And I'm able to get 12 hours worth of classes in that term around the 2000 fall of 2014. I was able to get out of the ending GPA was a 3.67 average, which I started good, but it kind of got down to about the spring. The spring, I didn't really like this GPA at all, in the fall after that. So the spring GPA, I ended on a 2.5 GP, and I remember the last, I had 2.75 overall GPA in the fall of 2015, and a 1.75 on the term. So I took some time off, and about 5 years to be exact, to figure out where I wanted to be. Now I'm going to come back and I'll get to part 2 in a second. I'm back with part 2, and I'm going to continue with that. So I did my registration in spring of 2020. In the audition, that was all during the COVID lockdown, and I remember a time being so very anxious about going back to school, trying to finish the one thing I started. And I was so worried about my grade point average. To asking myself, will I ever be good enough? Will I ever be accepted? And the last I recall, and I looked on the Nichols website, as long as you didn't have academic expulsion or suspension, that you were accepted. Thank God I didn't have any of those disciplinaries on my record. I had a pretty clean record to start off with, which was fantastic. And I remember sitting down at the very beginning of the first year and also every semester afterwards. And this is kind of where I sat down, especially at the beginning when I had some trouble with stuff. I told myself I was not going to set the 2.75 GPA, and I wasn't going to set the 1.75 term, like 2.75 for the overall, and the 1.75 for the term, because the 1.75 got me an academic probation, and I didn't want to start a whole new school like that, and then to think that something I had history repeat itself. So I kind of sat down in the beginning of each term. So what is my GPA? What is my goal I want to shoot for? So I came up with the goals myself, and my professors kind of helped me on this one. And I know this has something to do with team effort. This has something to do with work ethics, because without any of those, I wouldn't be where I am now, and I wouldn't be fighting to find a new job or go to graduate school in this case, because I'm gonna explain why in just a second. So the very first semesters, and even to the last one, I sat down and said, look, I want my term and my current GPA to be at least a 3.0 or above. I wasn't going to set 2.0 or below 2.0 because that's a no. And I told myself I want to get on the higher standings too, like get on additional standings as well as good standing. And that's how I kind of set those goals for myself in this sort of manner. So I had to do it very old fashioned, and I can tell you a few tips I went through all semesters, all 4 years of schooling that helped me. First of all, working hard. That's the first attitude. That I practiced hard, I studied hard, and worked absolutely hard in my classes. Secondly, getting to know your professors. You want to go to class every day. You want to look at your syllabus. If you're struggling in the class, you email that professor. You say, hey, can I come to your office hours? I am struggling. I am such a darn mess. And they're going to say, yeah, okay. We're going to find you a time. I did that all throughout 4 years. Don't feel afraid to ask for help, which I asked for plenty of it. Office hours at home, sometimes tutoring labs if I was able to go to one. Help multiple occasions is good. And also the fact, set up an ideal schedule is what I did too. When I knew, and this is kind of flow for me, and this is like, I was a music major. I had performances at night. I had to set up a timeline when I was going to do the assignments so they don't crawl up on me at the last minute and say, oh crap, I'm going to forget. No, don't. I think that's the worst thing you do. Especially some of them assignments are due on sometimes a Friday night or sometimes a Sunday night. Get the readings and get the assignments done as quickly as you can and thoroughly as you can. don't don't put your other responsibilities like away. Always have that schedule in place. So without being tough, with that toughness I had to go through, I made no excuses of why I couldn't succeed. And knowing the fact that I ended up not just on good standing each semester, I also ended with president's list, dean's list, or honor roll, depending on my situation. And yeah, because I didn't want to have probation on the record, so I kind of kept myself on the street. And if I can keep myself on the street, so can you. Stay organized, even through your life. Yeah, organize. Your work, your activities, your everything, and stay on top of things. And during my time there, I know I had teachers who kind of, let's say, when I was struggling in a class, and I know I'm trying my absolute best to make things work, and I had people say, hey, Hannah, you gotta focus on this class. And I can say specifically the class or the professor, just kind of keeping it as completely as private as possible. And I only had one major, okay, because I could tell you how many times I dropped something in each one. Based on the transcript, I had to drop one in Fletcher, and I'm trying to check my, I had one major drop in amount of hours in Nichols. And the rest of them were pretty minor. Like the ensembles were pretty minor. It was just one, like a one credit class that was pretty minor. But everything else I passed with flying colors. Because sometimes dropping, it can be like if you have a bad grade in the class, you can't keep up. It's fine. It's okay. But as long as you're passing the other classes to kind of make it very even, then you should be okay. But you don't want to have owe money back to the institution, so you have to have a lot more hours to kind of build that back up. And with that being said, if you're a music major and you had to drop an ensemble, that's pretty minor. As long as you got the hours to contribute to your GPA and everything like that, and you earn the grades, you should be good. So, and also the fact, I never forget how how I had really good teachers back then, and the fact is, when I didn't do well, it's just like, you gotta focus, and that was the fall of my senior year when I had a little bit of trouble with orchestration a little bit, and I remembered that 100%, and when the teacher I had for that class went to tell my private teacher, and I say names privacy, but anyways, say Hannah's doing better, what did you tell her? And oh yeah, the truth comes out. Focus. And if you're ever in the music department, by the way, you will notice in most cases, sometimes the professors kind of stay like very close knit. Like if you're not doing well in the class, and let's say they don't know about it, chances are they're gonna find out. So you better not hide from it, And yet, if you're doing well in classes, they'll know too, because I used to be this type of student back then, back in the days. Every time I did well, it's over social media. It's all over the emails. It's all over the darn page. If I'm not lying. But I remember there was a time it came, ashamed of some stuff, and I was like, my teacher's like, my private teacher, percussion teacher said, no, you shouldn't be ashamed. Everything you did was hard work. And I think one person on my IM brought out that I had a strong work ethic. And hey, all the stuff I've been through could not have been as possible without that value in place, you know. And I'm glad that I get recognized for some of the good stuff and not the negative stuff, you know. See you later.